guess what? It's just gone 10 o'clock. It's Sunday. It's the 24th of November 2024. Lots of fours in here, isn't there? And it is. What a week news that was. I still haven't got used to the title. I will get there at some point. Probably won't, I'll be honest with you. This is where we look at the... Okay. Important message. No, apparently I'm online. Who knew? Anyway, sorry, no Boris this week. But yeah, we'll look at the week's news. Quite a bit to cover. None of it overly great, but then I'll look at the fun stuff, the news that makes you go, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, welcome to the ride that is. What a week's news that was. 2024 for the 11th, 2024, 24. Too many 24s. Too many 24s for a 24, 24, 24, isn't it? It's in the game, it's in the game. Hi T, by the way, hope you're good. So, yeah, let's crack on, shall we? So, Monday, the 18th of November. The G20, Keir Starmer says, we must double down for Ukraine after Biden allows US missiles to be used inside Russia. At this point, none had been used, but permission had been given. Preparations for farmers' protests in London tomorrow were taking place. The farmers protesting about Keir Starmer and basically the inheritance tax, of which I've learnt quite a bit this week, and I think it's absolutely nonsense what Keir Starmer's coming up with. I mean, that's no shock to anyone, is it? Because pretty much everything Keir Starmer comes up with is utter nonsense. But yeah, we will wait with interest to see what actually happens. And no, it's not snowed in Wigan since last week. Doesn't snow in Wigan very often. It only snowed for like a morning. That was it. I ate Calderdale. Top Cat as well, hope you're good. Tuesday the 19th of November, the US supply missiles are actually sent into Russia by Ukraine for the first time. World War III, here we come. Or not. Thousands protest in London over the inheritance tax for farmers. So basically, yeah, people are saying because the farmers have got land that's worth a few £1,000,000, then they need to pay inheritance tax on it. The problem is they didn't buy it for a few £1,000,000, and as I said last week, if the farmer dies and leaves it to his family and they want to work the farm, then they don't pay inheritance tax in my book. However, if the family decide to sell the farm, they then pay inheritance tax, or if they decide to sell part of the farm, some of the land, then they pay inheritance tax on that. But if they just continue to farm it as is, then they don't pay inheritance tax. These farmers did not pay millions and millions of pounds for their farms. These farms have been owned, in some cases, for 350 years by the ancestors of these people, who probably picked up the farms for a couple of pigs and a sack of grain. It's the greedy bastards who've actually put the price up by these landowners coming in. If people have bought farms and they are not third, fourth generation farmers, then maybe they should pay inheritance tax, so it stops you people like your Dysons and all that kind of thing, who have bought loads of land. But as I said before, the people who own the most land are the government, the royal family, and the church. And I don't think any of them pay inheritance tax because, well, governments change all the time, don't they? So it's absolutely nonsense. Anyway, I agree with the farmers. I agree with the protest. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Last time I did that, it was the actors in Hollywood. Jeez. Anyway, Trump watches launch of SpaceX with Musk. The best buddies now. Elon Musk is describing himself not as the first lady, but as the first buddy. Could possibly go wrong. Wednesday the 20th, Ukraine fires UK missiles into Russia. Storm Shadow. The UK government have not commented on this directly. They kind of hinted that, yeah, it's the thing. Meanwhile, Biden also gives permission for US anti-personnel mines to be laid within Ukraine to slow down the advance of the Russians. Now, we all hate anti-personnel mines. They are, I mean, that's the thing that Diana fought for, against, even not for, as well as William, and even Harry for that matter. But it just seems a bit weird. Meanwhile, as we go into war with Russia, not to worry, the UK government has decided to decommission tanks, 5 ships, loads of drones, and 14 Chinook helicopters, none of which were supposed to be decommissioned until the 2030s. So they're not old, they're not out of date, they're not ancient, they need renewing. But the government is going to save £500 million over the next couple of years by just scrapping them and leaving the country open to invasion. Of course, it won't be invasion, as I've said many times before. It'll be cyber warfare. Now all of a sudden everyone's panicking because it's going to be cyber warfare. Oh my God, Putin's going to have a go at us by switching off the NHS and turning all the power systems off and everything. Well, of course he is. That's the only way to do it. We've already found out that feet on ground does not work. Especially Ukraine and Russia and the Russian army. If you can't beat Ukraine in the 6 weeks it thought it could, and we're like 1,000+ days into it now, then the Russian army is nothing to be frightened of. However, cyber warfare, completely different kettle of fish. Meanwhile, the Labour government inflation rate went up to 2.3%. It's the highest rise in over 2 years. They've been in government for 4 months. A lot of this is due to the rising price of energy and the rising costs of food, and obviously they're going to go up even higher because of wages and the NI. As I said many times before, if you're an employer, I'm not a massive employer, but if you are an employer and you've got 10 people and each one of them is going to earn £1 more an hour and you have to pay extra on their NI, you're going to cut hours or you're going to have to put your prices up. Either way, it's not good for the economy. Rachel Reeves hasn't got a clue. Who knew? Also, the funeral of Liam Payne was held on Wednesday as well. Waste of money as long as they still use them. Exactly, Angela. We're talking about the weapons being decommissioned by that there government that know absolutely all about anything. Meanwhile, Thursday the 21st, Putin threatens the UK with ballistic missiles after our ballistic missiles are used on Russia from Ukraine. Hi Eleni, hope you're good as well. I'm Wolfie. Arrest warrants for Hamas leader al-Mazari, although he might be dead, so it'd be difficult to arrest a dead person, but we don't know whether he's definitely dead or not. Also, Benjamin Netanyahu, and it is a former military leader by the ICC. Now, I've said many times before that Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. No one can defend what Hamas did on October the 7th, 2 years ago now. Was it a year ago? I don't know. It just seems to be going on forever, this war. Which, to be fair, it has. And probably will do. But Benjamin Netanyahu has gone too far, way too far. And what really annoys me, if you watch channels like GB News and not so much nowadays because you have to go on YouTube to watch it, but Talk TV and all that, they defend Israel for what they're doing, and you cannot defend Israel for slaughtering innocent people. Yes, I know they're after the terrorists, I know they're after Hamas, but you don't do it by levelling buildings with families in them, sheltering, who've moved there because you told them to move there because you're going to bomb where they were originally. So Benjamin Netanyahu deserves everything he's going to get, which sadly is probably going to be nothing, which he doesn't deserve. Meanwhile, Lord John Prescott, or Two Jacks as he's been known, has passed away at the age of 86. He was the former Labour Deputy Prime Minister, and he also had a pretty decent right hook as well. If you remember the early parts of this century, he punched a guy through an egg at him, and I don't blame him for that. No matter what your politics are, no one who's stood up for politics should have anything thrown at them other than the odd "you're an idiot" kind of comment. I'd accept that, but no objects like rock, stones, milkshakes or eggs. Hello Michael Creeby, hope you're good. I've been a bit... Okay, well, I'm glad you've had a good weekend. We've had the Christmas light switch on in Wigan today. Not seen it because I was in my show. So yeah, 22nd of November. The Irish MMA fighter, I've not written his name now, but it's the one with the tattoo on his chest, McGregor, will appeal civil court win for a woman over sexual assault claims. He claims he did nothing wrong, but he's been found guilty in a civil court rather than a federal court in America or Ireland or wherever the hell it was. Judge postpones Trump's sentencing over the hush money and grants permission for dismissal, even though he's been found guilty. Which makes no sense. You've been found guilty of something, then you should get sentenced for it. I'm not just being naive. And then there was a weather warning. Storm Bert will cause havoc in the UK. This was on Friday, they were telling us this. I don't know where Ernie was, because obviously wherever there's a Bert, there's always an Ernie, if you're a Sesame Street fan. But we've had so many of these weather warnings, it's just like, yeah, right, whatever. But calling it Bert, I mean, come on. Yeah, I was wrong on that one. The Queen pulls out of the Royal Variety performance due to a chest infection. I'd use that excuse as well, anything not to go and see a Royal Variety performance. I mean, they are the most horrendous things on TV, has to be said. Meanwhile, on Saturday the 23rd, there's hopes that the COP29 might have a deal, but poor countries walk out of talk saying they want more money for their countries being destroyed by the perceived global warming that's currently going on. Meanwhile, Storm Bert, still no Ernie, causes chaos around the UK, but not in Wigan, because we don't get weather in Wigan. It's true, we don't. Meanwhile, an 8-storey residential building is flattened by the Israeli Defence Force in Beirut. Many dead, at least 20, probably a lot more. Beirut being in Lebanon, not even in Gaza. And Israel just carry on regardless, even though they are absolute scum of the earth. All the Israeli government, Benjamin Netanyahu, and all the people who are obeying the orders given by him should all be locked up for a very long period of time, or even worse. I'd be happy with even worse. It's just frustrating that they're being allowed to get away with this, and America is still supplying weapons to them as well, which makes them complicit. So Biden should be in court as well with Benjamin Netanyahu. Mind you, don't get me wrong, I've always said and I always will say that George W. Bush and our very own what was he called, such an annoying person, Tony Blair, should also be in the ICC courthouse for the war they did in the Gulf, which basically has triggered a lot of the stuff that's going on around the world now, because they wanted oil rights, allegedly, and all these weapons of mass destruction that they were definitely going to find, but never did, and killed a lot of our own lads as well as innocent people in the various countries that we went to, and destabilised them as well. So if anything, we are, well, not us necessarily, because I didn't agree with it at the time, but Blair and Bush are more guilty of war crimes than maybe even Benjamin Netanyahu, and that says something, isn't it? I'll expect a knock on the door soon from Keir Starmer's buddies, the police, obviously. Meanwhile, Sunday the 24th, more than 100 flood warnings in force as Storm Bert continues to batter Britain. Meanwhile in Wigan, the weather's lovely, nice and warm, a bit of sunshine, slightly overcast, no wind to speak of. Yeah, lovely day in Wigan. And a COP29 deal has been agreed, although the poorer countries are still furious because they want billions and billions and billions of pounds in order to, I don't know, but they just want billions and billions and billions of pounds in compensation, I assume, for what they perceive to be wrongdoings by the rest of the world. Yeah, me neither. I support the farmers, not necessarily these people. Anyway, let's move on to the news that makes you go, matron, and all that kind of thing. So this is news that I've picked up from various websites and various apps where we look at what has made me react. Sometimes it's like laughing out loud. I literally lol. Other times it's like groan. Other times it's like, yeah right, whatever. And other times it's like, oh my god, that is disgusting. Anyway, first up, I meant to show this last week, for some reason I didn't. But it doesn't matter. It's not aged. In fact, if anything, it's probably more relevant now than it was then. The new season of Shameless started on July the 4th, 2024, and it's a picture of Reeves Starmer and his Muppets around him, all of whom look very happy with themselves. But if you're a straight white British male, you're going to have your voice silenced. Not this one. Aussies are urged down in Australia to chart their farts. Whether you're silent and deadly or loud and proud, the CSIRO is calling on Aussies to keep track of how and when they pass wind. The National Science Agency says charting your farts can help scientists learn more about one of the leading gut health symptoms. Using an app called Chart Your Fart, Aussies over 14 are being asked to keep a log of their flatulence for at least 3 days. I mean, that would be, even in my case, that would be a lot. I do a lot of farting, and I'm not even vegetarian. Can you imagine if you're a vegan? Well, don't imagine you're a vegan, because that's like hell personified. Not for you, just for everyone else around you, because A, you fart like an absolute cow, because cows fart a lot. Actual cows, I'm not being, demonstratory in any way. But you also bore people to death by telling people you're vegan. It's just very depressing on so many levels. Anyway, talking of depressing on so many levels, expert says parents should ask babies for permission before changing their nappies. Look at the expert. Do you think that's ever had a baby? Shut the cup. Almost 50% of men think they can land a passenger plane in an emergency. Experts disagree. Now, I must admit, I played Flight Simulator on the Xbox and various very old PCs and Amigas back in the day. So I think I'm pretty experienced at landing planes. And I'm pretty sure I couldn't land a plane, even if my life would depend on it, which it would obviously if I was trying to land a plane, because that would be very bad for everyone involved. Meanwhile, this is an interesting one. It's a bit bigger so you can read it better. This is putting, I think it's a little bit OTT, but it's by UKIP, so it's going to be OTT. But anyway, comparing Starmer with Stalin. Persecution of farmers. Starmer gets a tick for that, as does Stalin. Jailing of political dissidents. Starmer gets a tick for that. People write tweets he doesn't agree with, 2 years in prison. Obviously Stalin gets that as well. Removal of free speech. Well, yeah, again, same as before. Stalin does that. Political show trials. Yep, we did that from the rights, didn't we? We want substantial sentences really quickly for the people who dare to object to an incident that we may or may not have covered up in, what are you doing? In Southport. I've not necessarily told the truth about. Then it comes out later. High taxes. Well, they've both done that. Forcing citizens to freeze. Well, not all citizens, to be fair. It's only the pensioners who are vulnerable who are freezing in Britain, so that's fine. State corruption. Well, that's obviously both of them. Creation of thought crimes. Yeah, we're going down the route of a Minority Report. I might think a bad thing, therefore I go to prison for it. Cover-up of murders, take you back to what I was talking about before, allegedly. And forced migration, again, something that has been going on for a while and was initiated by a certain Tony Blair. Admitted it wasn't stopped by the Tories, but Tony Blair was the one who opened all our borders up. That was nice of him, wasn't it? Since we closed the borders, things have got worse, but that's another story for another day. So let's have some light entertainment. Let's go down a bit of Star Wars stuff, shall we? You've heard of a TIE fighter. How's about a tire fighter? Someone's done a tire swing. I assume it's in America, and they've done it in the style of a TIE fighter from the Star Wars. More Star Wars stuff. What are you doing? More Star Wars stuff. A British historian discovers a 14th century manuscript containing images of Yoda. You're like, nah, I don't think so. But then you're like, I'm not sure Yoda had webbed hands, but other than that, that is creepy. Research finds female frogs play dead to avoid mating with males. I can imagine that works in many different species. Although I tried it once with one of my exes. Didn't really work. I didn't play dead, I played asleep. It didn't work. Just wasn't going to stop her. No. Anyway, let's move on. Fantasy versus reality. Trump and Musk think of themselves as like two superheroes. When you look at them, really, they sure ain't. I mean, I don't know where Musk gets his body from, but it's a very impressive body. But yeah, they think of themselves as like the Matrix, but they're just two very overweight old men. Well, middle-aged and old. Apparently, you can't use beef stew as a password. It's not strong enough. Apparently, you can't use beef stew as a password. It's not strong enough. Strong enough. It's very clever. I mean, how they knew my password, I don't know. Well, it's obviously not strong enough. Meanwhile, Ed Sheeran wishes he wasn't on the new Band-Aid song. And the people at Have I Got News For You, I'm losing faith with at the minute, hand over fist, agree. I've not heard the new song, but I don't really care about the new song either. Oh, yep. Someone's kicking off. What's kicking off? Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Trump stinks so Musk covers his smell. Yeah, get it now. Trump stinks, farts, Australia, and Musk covers his smell. Meanwhile, Elvis Presley's manager sold I Hate Elvis badges as a way to also make money from people who weren't buying Elvis merchandise, which, if you think about it, is genius. So you've got the biggest superstar on the planet at the time, and millions and millions of people are buying all the merchandise that you can do. But there's an equal number of people who hate Elvis. So what do? Well, you come up with all the hate stuff as well. So even the people who don't like Elvis are buying the stuff that you're producing, and the money goes to Elvis and you. I mean, it is beyond genius. Should have been President of the United States for that kind of thinking. More Star Wars. Lord Vader, we have received an urgent message from the Death Star. From the Death Star? What is it? A big space station with lots of weapons and troops and stuff, but that's not important right now. Yeah, reference to Airplane, one of my favourite movies of all time. One of my favourite bands of the 80s. Although I say favourite, I didn't really go mad for them. The Cure. Anyway, they've recently had a number one. But on this day in 1990, The Cure released their remix album, Mixed Up. And there's a picture of a very young Joe Brand, looking very much like Robert off of The Cure. Then we've got President Nixon had a speech prepared in case Apollo 11 didn't make it home, which you would have to do. What? Where are you? Where have you gone? Where have you gone? What are you doing? Oh, I don't know. The cat's gone mad. She's gone mad. Bloody mad, I tell you. Anyway, yeah. So he had a speech, and it makes sense for him to have a speech because at the end of the day, they didn't know whether or not it would even make it to the moon, let alone if it made it to the moon, they would get back. So it makes perfect sense to have a speech. And if I get it up, this is it. Let's make it bigger. There we go. So this was in the event of a moon disaster, and this was composed on July the 18th, 1969. I remember the moon landing, just. I remember watching it on someone's telly. Now, a lot of people say they never made it to the moon. I think they made it to the moon. I think they actually got to the moon and got back again. But I don't think the footage we watched on the telly was all filmed on the moon, and it certainly wasn't live, because we've not had the ability to film, to transmit stuff in 1969, even around the planet, never mind and then around the planet. So I think a lot of it may have been either pre-filmed in a studio or filmed in a studio on Earth, but broadcast as on the moon. But I do think we actually got to the moon. More so because many people have said over the years that they can actually see the areas with a powerful enough telescope where they actually landed. And there's even the vehicle there, which wasn't on this one, but it was on a later one. Anyway, so this was in the event of a moon disaster. And this was the speech that President Nixon was going to say. Fate has ordained that the men who went to the moon to explore in peace will stay on the moon to rest in peace. These brave men, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, know that there is no hope of their recovery, but also know that there is hope for mankind in their sacrifice. These two men are laying down their lives in mankind's most global goal, the search for truth and understanding. They will be mourned by their families and friends. They will be mourned by the nation, and they will be mourned by the people of the world. They'll be mourned by a Mother Earth that dared to send two of their sons into the unknown. In their exploration, they stirred up people of the world to feel as one. In their sacrifice, they bind more tightly in brotherhood of man. In ancient days, men looked at the stars and saw their heroes in the constellations. In modern times, we do much the same, but our heroes are epic men of flesh and blood. So, I mean, you know, if he'd have come up with this at the time, this might have actually saved... No, it wouldn't have saved his career. Obviously not. What am I talking about? Others will follow and surely find their way home. Man's search will not be denied, but these men were the first, and they will remain the foremost in our hearts. For every human being who looks upon the moon in the nights to come, we will know that there is some corner of another world that is forever mankind. And this was prior to the President's statement. The President should telephone each of the widows to be. After the President's statement, at the point when NASA ends communication with the men, a clergyman should adopt the same procedure as a burial at sea, commending their souls to the deepest of the deep, concluding with the Lord's Prayer. And you don't think about stuff like this, do you, when stuff like this is going on? But yeah, they've got to think of you know, the inevitable, and that could be it. Meanwhile, in Australia, business failures reach record high. Aussie businesses are collapsing at a rate not seen since the middle of the pandemic, with the cost of living crisis and mounting tax debts largely to blame. The hospitality industry is suffering the most as customers look to curb spending, and we're finding that over here in the UK as well. Remember, people keep saying the UK economy is absolutely messed up, screwed up and everything. Australia couldn't be further away from the UK if it tried, and it's still messed up and screwed up and everything. So it's not the governments here that are doing it, it's a world thing. And again, is it the blob? Is it the people above? What's going on? I had an interesting conversation with someone about that, and I may pursue that, but I may not, to be fair. Anyway, what's the most disgusting thing you've ever heard of that's come out of a deep fat fryer? You're probably going to say a battered Mars bar. Now I'm going to raise you considerably. How's about a Cadbury's cream Scotch egg? Yes. It's a cream egg replacing the boiled egg in a Scotch egg. I mean, that is beyond horrendous. So yeah, that is now the most disgusting thing I've ever heard of. No, 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 no. No, 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 as Angela's put, and correctly so. Meanwhile, a Cambridgeshire railway bridge has been named Britain's most bashed after 18 hits in the last year. That's more than the entire Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight. The weird thing is, I'm pretty sure there's a bridge in Wigan that gets more hits than 18 in a year, so surely that is the most hit bridge then. We're going to go for records. Anyway, who knew? Absolute insult to the cream rug. You see, that's cream egg. I don't like cream eggs because they're chocolate. And I can't have chocolate because it's got milk in it. As have cows. Look, don't throw this together. Cows are best friends and get stressed when they are separated, according to Northampton University. Well, it must be true then, mustn't it? Because Northampton University said so. I mean, why wouldn't cows have best friends? It kind of makes sense in a weird way. Campaigners call for movie villains to stop having disfigurements. They say it has a negative impact on people with visible differences. For God's sake, grow up. Some people really need to get put back in a box and then buried. Elon Musk's dad claims Starmer has sent the UK back to the Tudor days. Elon Musk's father Errol told LBC Keir Starmer should quit and said he's taken the UK back 400 years. He's working on it. You take care, Calderday. Cat. See you soon. Calderday, yeah, top cat. Prunella Scales is 92 years old today. She's a CBE and is an English retired actor. She portrayed Sybil Fawlty, the bossy wife of Basil Fawlty in the BBC comedy Fawlty Towers. She played Queen Elizabeth II in A Question of Attribution. She was nominated for a British Television Academy Award, a television award even, and appeared in a documentary series Great Canal Journeys with her husband and fellow actor who passed away last week, tragically, Timothy West. She's sadly currently suffering from either dementia or Alzheimer's, and that's what I fear for. She's 92 years old, her husband of 40 odd years has passed away, and I just hope she is coping or being looked after properly by the people who were around her. Now, when I was a kid, very few things terrified me. Ironically, David Bowie with his nipples out on top of the pops, that terrified me. But not as much as this fish. Today, 1964, BBC One premiered a 3-part series for children from East Germany. Das Single Kinder Blachmann was a 1957 children's fantasy film from East German studio DEFA. Obviously much better known under its UK title as The Singing Ringing Tree. And that absolute frightening fish terrified me. I mean, I wasn't born in I wasn't watching telly in 1964, put it that way, but it was repeated many times, and it was horrendous. It was horrific. I absolutely hated it. That and that stupid snowy white horses thing. Oh, white horses, snowy white horses. Absolutely hated it. Mind you, I probably hate this as well. Because what? Just, I'm not into violence towards kids, but you'd punch that in the face, wouldn't you? In the original 1883 Pinocchio novel, Pinocchio spends months as a donkey, performs in a circus, breaks his leg, gets sold, and is drowned for his leather. The puppet survives, and trapped until a fish eat away the donkey flesh. Yeah, is it a grim fairy tale? Because the grim fairy tales were very grim. As you know, it's been getting cold recently, very cold recently. So just a reminder, as the cold weather sets in, animals are attracted to the warmth of your vehicle. Always check your car before driving off. And there's a picture there of snow with a BMW parked up with a fully grown cow on the bonnet for warmth, one assumes. Thank you for contacting Yorkshire Water. We appreciate your feedback. Is there anything else we can do is there anything else we can help you with? Yeah, can you explain to me why £3 a month can supply water to a village in Africa, yet my bill is £37 a month and it's only me and the missus? Me and water companies, we don't have a good history. I despise everything they stand for at the moment, because all they're interested in is making money and then charging people even more money, even though they're paying their shareholders God knows amount. Never mind nationalising the railways, we should nationalise the water and then reduce the prices, any profit made put directly back into renewing the system. But again, I've gone on about this enough in the past. You're now aware that you can't say Irish wristwatch. You're now aware that you can't say Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Yeah, you can, but it's quite difficult. Not something I've ever thought about before. But anyway, there you go. This is a good one. This is a ship that deliberately does an impression of the Titanic, although without splitting in half and without actually sinking completely. It's a bit bonkers. So basically, what it does is it goes nose first into the water, and they can then do, I don't know what they do actually. Let's have a read, shall we? Where are we? I've lost it. There it is. So this is what it does. The research vessel RV Flip is the only vessel in the world capable, go away, I don't want to save things to AI, in the world capable of shifting from horizontal to vertical position in the middle of the ocean. Flip is not a small ship, it's about 108 metres long and weighs 700 tonnes. Engineers designed it to be able to move to a vertical position with 90 degrees straight, so that the front of the ship at the top is 17 metres high, i.e. a 5-storey building, while the bottom is submerged 91 metres deep, i.e. that most of the ship is submerged underwater, which helps the ship's stability and resistance to wave. The transformation takes about 30 minutes, in which seawater is pumped into huge tanks in the back of the ship, which makes it sink into the water to become a ship of a vertical position, and the ship is considered one of the most important ships in the field of scientific research of seas and oceans. It's also fucking insane. But why? I mean, why? Why does he do that? It just seems a bit peculiar. Hi, Sean J. Well, there you go. Breaking news: 2 ambulances and vehicles carrying Secret Service just left Mar-a-Lago from a report. No word of who's involved. Well, Mar-a-Lago is where Donald Trump's been hanging out. But anyway, Donald Trump's been seen since, so it wasn't Donald Trump. Now you know that a 9-volt battery is just 6 AAA batteries hiding inside. It's a bit like, you know, when people go on about electric car batteries, and they say, you know, they're one big battery. They're not. They're just lots of little batteries, or hundreds of little batteries, all joined together, not dissimilar to that, which is why they're so dangerous. Banksy fans, Banksy art, Banksy artwork, Banksy museum. Basically saying that when we're all dug up in 1,000 years, it doesn't matter whether you're white, black, straight, gay, religious, atheist, or a pirate, although they've only got half a leg, you'll still look exactly the same to everyone else. So stop being so fussy about your identity, because it doesn't matter in the scheme of things. You just piss people off. Attention staff, please ensure that all copies of My Daddy is a Giant are not stored at the front of the boot box. Thank you. And not only does it look like My Daddy is doing something he shouldn't be doing, but the word giant, if you chop them, doesn't look like it's spelling the word giant. That's all I can say. It's a bit more like Jeremy Hunt. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, Jimmy Carr. It's actually easy to tell if your house is haunted. It isn't. Grow up. Thank you. Our weekly dose of Jimmy Carr. Now, Jaguar have monumentally screwed up this week. I mean, all publicity is good publicity, isn't it? No. Jaguar have monumentally screwed up this week with an advert. The rebrand, basically the rebranding their entire thing. Now, don't get me wrong, but I think the majority of people who would buy a Jaguar are my age, which is late middle age, early old. It's not something that a 20-something-year-old would even think of buying, because they're more interested in having cars that show off rather than cars that are, you know, nice and stable. So they've rebranded, they've done this advert with all these weirdly dressed people doing weird things. And someone said here, it's the live action movie we've all been waiting for. Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala and Po explore the new planet. Oh no, it's actually the Jaguar's latest advert. And what they've done is, they've got this absolute prat who went through a speech dressed in a proper speech, not like, you know, me, I dress stupidly on here deliberately to look silly, but no, he dressed in a glittery see-through black top with a jacket over it to say how everything's going to be inclusive and all that kind of stuff. Have they not learnt that 99.9% of the population don't mind people being inclusive, but we do mind it being forced down our throats. And they've even got rid of the Jaguar from the Jaguar logo. I mean, talk about suicide. A lot of people are likening it to Bud Light when they had the trans person advertising them. And particularly in America, Bud Light's never recovered. There's even rumours they're going to stop even selling Bud Light in America now. And they've rebranded Bud, the actual Bud, the red label one, with a guy. This is an advertisement from Budweiser, with a guy in what looks like underneath a bridge somewhere on a sofa, surrounded by people not dissimilar to the people in the new Jaguar advert, saying, hang on a minute, I meant to be in a Budweiser advert, why are you here, kind of thing, as if to mock their own advertisement, because it's the same company, Bud Light. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, let's look back on happier times. For example, Queen, they started a 9-week run at #1 in the UK singles chart with Bohemian Rhapsody in 1975, and here's a picture of Queen in 1975. Except of course it's not. But my God, it's bloody good, isn't it? It's the, what's he called? Family in Coronation Street. One of them's still in it now. He was like a sex symbol for a while, the one on the right. And now he's like a middle-aged man living with Tracy Barlow and all them. Steve McDonald, so it's the McDonald family. A picture. But they are, if you squint your eyes, spit an image of Queen. Whoever comes up with these is a fucking genius. Really, really clever. McDonald, yes. Hello, philosophy lady, I am here. No, am I here? Yes. How do you know? Philomena Kunk. I do love Philomena Kunk. I do think she's a Kunk even. She's brilliant. Born on this day, 1943, former world #1 tennis player Billie Jean King, and the photograph is of a moderately young Cliff Richard with the Billie Jean King glasses on and the hairdo, but a severely hairier chest than Billie Jean King's probably got. We're setting in the past as well, because it's Christmas time. Everyone remember the greatest Christmas song ever? By 17. Stay Another Day? Well, a dog has decided to represent the video that they did, with all the fluffy white coats with the hoods up and everything, with its arse. So there you go now. Stay now, baby, if you have to go away, or won't you stay another day? Yeah, anyway. Terry's what? This is in Sainsbury's. Terry's chocolate orange ball bag, or £1. And you're like, what? What? Someone didn't think that one through. Oh, maybe they did. All publicity is good publicity. Or no. Games consoles, I've been around them for 30 odd years. Really have. And this is allegedly the numbers of units sold of various consoles over the years. So the PlayStation 2 is the highest, 160 million. The DS, 154 million. Obviously this is worldwide. The Switch, which is the newest one on the list, is 146 million. The Game Boy and Game Boy Color, which were two different consoles, but we'll go with it, 118.6. The PS4, 117.2. I'm not sure about that, Bob. The PlayStation 1, 102.4. The Wii, 101.6. I must admit, when the Wii came out, it was impossible to get your hands on one. We sold out, I was working at Asda at the time, and we sold out by 5 o'clock before the midnight of it coming out. So the shortest anyone had waited for one was 7 hours when they were launched, the Wii. The PlayStation was launched a couple of weeks later, and only 5 people turned up for that, yet still managed to rack up 87.4. Xbox 360, the best-selling Xbox, is 84 million. That's because they had, for me, the best console going at the time. They got all the best stuff that they possibly had when they brought out the Xbox One. They put it in a massive bag from the Xbox 360 and threw it out the window and completely messed up the Xbox One launch. Still haven't recovered from it now. Game Boy Advance, 81.5 million. So if you get any of them consoles, you're part of that statistic. I wonder what this was at first. It turns out there's this giant 17-foot Cheeto statue in Alberta, and they've even stained the fingers orange, because that's what happens when you eat Cheetos, apparently. I wouldn't know because of cheese, I can't have cheese. Struggling boy's birthday ends in heartbreak as nobody shows up to a party. A mum was left heartbroken after she hoped throwing a birthday party for a struggling son would help make friends, but no one had the decency to turn up, leaving the boy to celebrate alone. Well, if you're a regular viewer to this channel, you know I do that every year. And it's not that bad really, because no one throws up on your carpet, no one nicks all your drinks, no one coughs on the cake. It's brilliant. In fact, I'm going to celebrate this boy's birthday the only way I know how. And there you go. Happy birthday, boy. You get used to it. It's good being on your own. I love it. Bloke marks his kidney's 100th birthday as mum's organ is still alive and kicking. Ken Reeves was given his mum's kidney 49 years ago and it's still going strong, despite the fact that it's incredibly rare for kidney transplants to last beyond 10 to 15 years. When I first saw it, I thought he'd just cut out his mum's kidney and was keeping it somewhere. But it turns out no, it's all legitimate. I've got a PS4, PS3, PS2 and a SNES and a Game Boy. There you go then, you've got pretty much everything on that list. I've got everything except for the handheld stuff. I didn't do handheld stuff at all, never had a handheld console. So there you go. That's exciting. Ford announces 800 job cuts in the UK as motoring giant axes rolls across Europe. Hopefully it's the woke brigade that are going. Good news was for a local factory, there are no job losses at the local Halewood plant. Road safety vigilantes swapped speed signs with explicit ones, but drivers like them. Police in Boulder, Colorado said they are looking into a case of criminal tampering after signs with profane messages were found posing as speed limit signs around the city. So someone's put on a speed limit 35 mile an hour and then they've added a sign, speed limit, and then underneath, get off your damn phone. I think that's fair. But the problem is, if people are on the damn phone, they wouldn't see the sign, would they? So, sadly, it doesn't work. Mutant black frogs found in Chernobyl suggest humans could safely return. Well, they have lifted a lot of restrictions now for Pripyat, or Pripyat, or whatever it's called. The discovery of mutant black frogs, much darker than their normal bright green, has boffins hoping that people could one day return to live in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. I'm a little bit concerned as to why mutant black frogs are given the go-ahead for humans to move back there. That seems counterintuitive. Well, the dogs have got 2 heads, the cats have got 3 tails, and the frogs are black instead of green. So it's perfectly safe for everyone else to move back. It's one place on the planet I'd love to go. Another one being, well, there's 3 actually. The other one is Pompeii, and the other one is the island off the coast of Japan that used to be the mining island. It was abandoned. I just love places that are abandoned. I love abandoned engineering on yesterday. If you've never watched it, watch it, it's brilliant. NASA accidentally drowned aliens while exploring Mars, according to Top Boffin. Dr. Sluis Makuk of the Technical University of Berlin in Germany made a sensational claim that NASA may have drowned aliens on Mars nearly 50 years ago. Wasn't even aware we'd been to Mars 50 years ago, but there you go. We drowned aliens on Mars. But there's no water on Mars, so how can we drown aliens? Because all the water's frozen. How do you drown aliens? What do we do? Do we warm it up? Did we fire a mirror at Mars? What? John Prescott's regretless egg-throwing punch victim reacts to his death. Craig Evans, who threw an egg at the former Deputy Prime Minister in 2001 during a protest over farming issues, wasn't he Labour as well, and said he had no regrets about the incident. No, he got what he deserved, and that was fair play. They both become famous for a while. So yeah, but you shouldn't throw eggs at politicians. Fool. Brits flock to buy nuke bunkers with 300% increase interest over World War III fears. It has been a week like no other for Nottinghamshire bloke Matthew Wright, who say Brits worried about World War III have been requesting nuke bunkers, but the shelters come at a steep price. Yeah, because, well, they will, won't they? Aliens! Get ready, Laney. Experts say aliens are here, but they're hiding in the multiverse. Multiverse? Come on. The secret to making contact with extraterrestrial life is not where we thought it was, says the scientist who said aliens are most likely in a multiverse living alongside ours. It's not kin Spider-Man or Marvel. Fuming. NASA could make everyone a billionaire as they probe an 8 quintillion pound asteroid. NASA have made a huge discovery that could lead everyone on Earth with a payment of £1 billion, but they're focusing on the asteroid discovery on solidifying their understanding of the universe. For a start, if everyone become a billionaire, inflation would go through the roof. So the whole thing is absolute nonsense. Plus, how are we going to mine it? And then what are we bringing back from this asteroid that's possibly even remotely safe? And the answer is coal. So don't do it. Don't do it, NASA. You've already took one asteroid by crashing into it. Oh, this is a sad story. World's saddest dolphin recorded talking to himself because he has no mates. Delhi might possibly be the loneliest dolphin in the world, spending his time adrift from other members of his species and desperately chatting to himself to pass the time. Bit like me on my birthdays and New Year and Christmas. Stormbert named by Met Office as multiple severe weather warnings issued. Stormbert has been named by the Met Office as a severe yellow weather warning has been issued for the UK this weekend, which will bring impacts to large parts of the UK, but not Wigan, ever, probably. Doesn't happen. Wigan doesn't do it. We don't get it. We don't get it. Right, Putin. I mentioned Putin's hands. Here we go. Putin disappears for medical exam during nuclear crisis, but no one knows where. Mad Vlad has not been seen in public since November the 7th, with rumours circulating in his native Russia on why the president has not been seen for 13 days. He's done this before, though. He's disappeared. In fact, we were covering last year lots of rumours that he died, and there were all these stand-ins that we were seeing. Fastest moving star in the galaxy may be piloted by aliens, says a report. An alien civilization could have hijacked some of the universe's fastest moving stars and be travelling through the galaxy as we speak. Shut up, you fools. That's all I can say. Talking of which, Putin's health must be questioned after video shows amateurish edit on hands. Once again, Vladimir Putin's health has been thrusted in the limelight after footage of him appears to have been altered terribly. Probably he can't control his hands of tremors. Now, we've had a lot of stuff in the past where his hands have been moving or he's been fidgeting with them or whatever. This was a speech that allegedly again it might be AI, we don't know. He allegedly gave a couple of days ago, and he had his hands folded on the desk like that, and they did not move at all for the entire time, not even a finger or a thumb or anything. They just remained there. They were like they were plastic hands, which they could have been, you don't know. But it's worrying because if Putin thinks he's dying, then it kind of takes that restraint off him for, pressing a button. But I don't think he would anyway. Vladimir Putin's new missile could hit Britain in 20 minutes. Ukraine was braced for brutal new Russian attacks after he dropped his new Oreshnik hypersonic missile on Dnipro yesterday, and there was warning the UK could be next. I'm pretty sure that the UK has got protection around the country that we don't know about, because why would we need to know, that will stop any weapons getting to us, regardless of how fast they go. You do not develop weapons of mass destruction, i.e. nuclear devices, without at the same time developing defences against said weapons. That's just common sense, isn't it? Oh shit, we're talking about the UK government. Anyway, it's like at a bus in a ditch. Stormbert's 80 mile an hour weather bomb to bash Britons with 2,000 mile Atlantic torment. The 2,000 mile wide Atlantic torment will buffet the south tomorrow, dumping up to 6 inches of rain after hammering the north today. Power cuts could happen as roads, rail lines and airports were also shut by snow, and a bus crashed into a ditch. Can't park there, mate. Severed Head tried to get in my bed with me and I believe it was a notorious ghost. A veteran ghost hunter, Brocardy, was in bed after filming in haunted Whitby Hotel for her YouTube channel when the head, with bulbous eyes, tried to get under the sheets with her. I'm sure it was just the bellboy. I mean, these people come out with some right crap, don't they? Right crap. Just a head, yeah, of course. But not had anything today. It's been really a bit windy, but that's about it. Nudists get their baubles out at UK Village pub hosts naked Christmas dinner. Regulars of the Mill Arms in Dunbridge may catch an eyeful if they step into the wrong room during British Naturism's Christmas lunch that costs £45 for non-members. Yeah, I keep saying I need to go to a naturist place. I just think it'd be fun just to walk around with nothing on. I mean, I wouldn't do it in public, although technically that would be, wouldn't it? Anyway. Okay. UK hit by 20 earthquakes in 23 days with 3 in 5 minutes. While not often associated with the UK, earthquakes have been happening across the country for the past month, with one unlucky area receiving 3 in one day, with just minutes between them. I must admit, I've not heard any of the earthquake things, but I do remember feeling what I thought was a vibration that I couldn't actually understand. I've been awake when earthquakes have happened before. One sounded like an articulated lorry with no tyres on it going past the house. It was like this really horrible things. I do it in the house, Laney, all the time. The neighbours are fed up of it. World War III has already started, claims top Ukraine commander. Yeah, it hasn't. But yeah, we'll listen to Ukraine. Like I say, a pinch of salt, bucket of salt. I've been in Scotland where there was one. Yeah, you'll get them a lot. It's just not as massive as ones in other parts of the world, thank God. World's coolest dictator built brutal mega prison and jailed 2% of the population. El Salvador's President Bukele has been widely praised for his tough stance on crime, but the measures he has introduced to tackle the country's gang problem have also been controversial. But they seem to be working because it was the murder capital of the world and now it isn't. And dare say a few innocent people have been locked up, but if you're saving people's lives, then you know we're locking innocent people up over here, and they're not even having threatening other people's lives. So yeah. Geek culture now more popular than football as nerdy hobbies take over Britain. Britons are more interested in nerdy hobbies like science fiction, video gaming and superheroes than the beautiful game, as younger people confess their love for anime and Pokemon cartoons. And that is what I see in my shop. There were two 20-something-year-olds getting very excited about opening a pack of playing cards, not your regular playing cards. They were like Dungeons and Dragons-y type thing. Playing cards and discussing and talking at great length about each individual card or certain individual cards. And I'm like, oh no, it's like, what you doing? The Christmas lights have gone on in Wigan today, Laney. Keep up. Microscope shows hole in skin after getting a needle. I mean, what were you expecting? It's like, that's why I've never had a needle. Never had a jab. Last jab I had was when I was 18, and that was because I scalped myself. And I had a tetanus, as it was then called. Never had another needle since. 30 entitled people who deserve an award for their ignorance. Again, have you ever had a child? If you breastfeed your sons, you are training them to be rapists when they grow up. You're basically teaching them that they can touch a woman's body whenever they want. If you oppose rape, stop breastfeeding boys. Some people should literally be taken away and put somewhere where they can't do any damage. Seriously. Meanwhile, something I'm coming to terms with now, going bald. I admitted many years after the rest of my male family members have gone bald. Not that I know many of them, but yeah. Which one would I have of them? Well, obviously none of them, because they all look shite. What's that about? Stop it. Ask for a Lego Williams FW46 for Christmas. It's the gift that keeps on giving. You have to rebuild it every week. And this is an unfortunate attack on one of the drivers of the Williams team. who I think Colpitino, something like that, Argentinian driver, who's learning his trade and unfortunately has crashed the Williams that he drives so many times now that it's basically cost him in the region of £10 million or whatever to get him fixed. So yeah, so if you get the Lego version, you can recreate it and then put it back together again. There's actually a guy on YouTube. Formula One's the only thing I'm interested in. I don't follow him on YouTube actually. I follow him on social media. I don't follow him on YouTube. And he recreates all the races of Formula One in Lego stop motion animation. And the stuff he does and the amount of detail he gets into is amazing. I think it's called Moving Bricks. So if you type in Moving Bricks F1 recreation and go on YouTube, it's just superb what he does. I just have him on Instagram and all that because I don't have time to watch YouTube because I'm too busy doing other stuff. But what I've seen of him, it's amazing. He even recreates cars crashing on in practice and during qualifying and all that kind of stuff. We will be doing Lego building again. I've actually got 3 McLaren cars I need to build, as well as, God knows what's over there as well on my little stack. Viva Mark, I'm better than I have been, thank you. Elon Musk has X'd, the people of Britain have had enough of a tyrannical police state, which is where we are going. There's a video surfaced today of a white, youngish guy having an argument with a police officer. The police officer pushes him away. The guy says, "Don't touch me." Then the police officer and 2 other police officers literally throw him to the floor and do they basically put him in a headlock. And yeah, the whole thing has gone bonkers. So there's a petition that's been put online that's reached 1 million signatures asking for a new general election. And the problem you've got is that's how democracy works, because as much as I'd love a new general election to get rid of this Labour government, we can't do it because we didn't do it for Brexit, so why would we do it for a general election? Admitted not as many people signed the petition in such a short period of time. It's like 2 days, and it's like, I think it's 1.4 million people now. I can imagine it's going to get to 5 or 6 million people, and it will be ignored, and I kind of agree with them ignoring it, but I do think that Starmer and Reeves have got to go. We've got to get someone else. The problem is they might be even worse than them, in which case then we have a general election. Anyway, let's move on to other news. Oh, this is fake news. Who thought that there was such a thing as fake news? But this was given out by the police as well. Hang on a minute, who thought the police give out fake news? So Westminster Bridge this morning was shut down after a brutal stabbing leaves a man fighting for his life. 4 arrests were made, but it doesn't end there. Over the past 72 hours, 6 suspicious packages have been found across the UK, including Euston Station, Gatwick, Chester, the US Embassy in Glasgow and more. Turns out a man is in critical condition in hospital after being treated for a heart attack after a fight broke out on the Westminster Bridge. The Met Police have now confirmed. Initially, he was thought to have been stabbed, but police confirmed this was not the case. So yeah, beware of fake news, it's everywhere. Not here, obviously. A Russian Azimuth Airlines Suki Superjet 100 is on fire at Lia Airport, private jet basically. One wonders if there's someone on there who may have recently criticised Vladimir Putin. Too soon? I don't think so. Anyway, next up is breaking news, and there's a lot of news that is breaking. In fact, there's a lot of news that's broke. So what we missed while we've been on air. There's a fire at an oil waste treatment plant. Don't know where that is. Tesco, Aldi, Asda, Primark and Sainsbury's say they'll be forced to cut jobs over rising costs. Well, obviously. Keir Starmer vows to focus on domestic matters after global trotting. He's been on 15 different trips. The ex-MI6 boss is deeply worried about extraordinary mistakes made by Labour and its mad energy policies. Homeless people to be given cash in first major UK trial to reduce poverty. What about the people that are not homeless, who can't heat their homes because money's been taken off them? Chinese scientists claim they have built a Death Star inspired beam weapon. Okay. Someone's been sacked as the Leicester manager. Major farm tax U-turn from biggest cheerleader of policy spells nightmare for Labour. So someone who was up for the tax has now realised it's not the right thing to do. Former British soldier captured while fighting in Ukraine. Russia launches drone strike on Kyiv as commander sacked for lying about war progress. Passengers locked out of Euston Station after Storm Bert causes flooding in London. Rabbi who went missing in UAE was murdered, says Israel. Laurel Laverne is given all clear following cancer diagnosis, so some good news there, the radio and TV presenter. Mystery drone spotted over British aircraft carrier. There's also mystery drones being spotted over various US military bases in the UK as well. It's there again confirmation that the man stabbed on Westminster Bridge actually suffered a cardiac arrest. NHS managers who silence whistleblowers set to be fired and barred from working in the NHS. Family of Britain 18 facing jail in Dubai over a month say they're living in a nightmare. He was 18 years old. He had sex with a 17-year-old, but the legal age of consent in Dubai is 18. The young girl is now 18. It was only a few days out, but you can still go to prison for a very long time in Dubai. You really must look at the laws when you're in a country, like, you know, not drinking in Dubai or saying anything nice about women in Dubai. You're not allowed to do that either, apparently. Pensioners face 25% tax hit with a little known raid. What else have we got? Theatres are issuing warnings to fans heading to see Wicked. Shabina Mahmood should not impose religious beliefs on others, says a P. Well, no one should put their beliefs on others. Gary Lineker accused of shameful contempt for women after support for anti-Israel article. It depends what he's supporting. But, I mean, shameful contempt of women, if you support what Israel are doing in Gaza and Lebanon, then you have a shameful contempt for women as well, because they're and the kids are the majority of people being murdered by the IDF. But, yeah, it's a rock and a hard place, isn't it, let's be honest. Kemi Badenoch pocketed 5 times more than maternity rate after quitting as minister. I don't even know what that means. Pedestrian crossing destroyed for 8th time with mystery warning note to council. Why would you destroy a pedestrian crossing? Broken promises. Starmer humiliated after 330,000 Britons signed petition demanding another general election. Like I say, it doesn't work like that. And you can't work it like that. And it is well over 1 million now. So I've now gone on to other. Motorists only given months to prepare for Rachel Reeves' car tax changes, which could see drivers paying double. So let's have a go at people who own cars as well. That seems a good idea. Including people who own electric cars will have to start paying road tax as well, which I agree with, because electric cars are heavier, therefore they're going to cause more damage and potholes, things like that. Right, let's go to, I'm going to just type in petition. Petition and see where we're up to. We actually got the petitions. Weirdly, it's not on the government website. Who knew? Have we got a link to this petition? There we go, I found it. Petition, call the general election. I would like there to be another general election. I believe the current Labour government have gone back on the promises they laid out in the lead up to the last election, which is true. And it's currently got 1,731,030 signatures. Sorry, 1,031,141 signatures. It seems to be going up quite rapidly. I do apologise. 1,731,253 signatures. 376. Parliament consider all petitions that get more than 100,000 signatures for a debate. The government will respond to all petitions that get more than 10,000 signatures. We're now on 494. All petitions run for 6 months. So we're on 1,731,724. So yeah, wow, that's quite impressive. My best friend's brother brought an electric car and it broke down. Had to be towed and it cost him about £200 with repairs, but I don't know what's wrong with it. He now wants rid of it. I know a couple of people who had electric cars and have sold them and got a petrol car again. And I know someone else who's tied in to a lease, but as soon as the lease ends, will get a petrol car as well. So yeah, it's no matter how you look at it, it's not good, is it? Anyway, that ends the breaking news. Or does it? So I've got another quick look, see if anything else has broken while we've been here. No, I think we're alright. Oh, the BBC have admitted they paid for some of Hugh Edwards' medical treatment after a suspension. Okay. I don't understand why you would do that, but anyway, let's go with it. So, where are we on? We've had 53 views, average is 9 minutes. We've had 3 likes, currently got 8 people watching. Highest we've had is about 11 at one point. So that's all pretty good. Big shout out to the Calderdale Top Cat, Angela O'Kane, Laney and Wolfie, Michael Creeby, Sean J, who was in and out, Viva Mark, T, and everyone else. Thank you very much. We've been on for 1 hour and 40 minutes, which is probably long enough. So what I will say is, thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. I'll be seeing you soon. Until then, thank you for watching, and Go way up. I killed my stream. Oh dear, I've killed my stream. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Why do people say you're joking when you tell them not nice news? Well, yeah, exactly. None of the news is nice. Anyway,